Good morning, everybody. The Twits. Are you ready? Mr. and Mrs. Twit go off to buy guns. The next morning, when Mr. Twit came out with his huge basket, not a single bird was sitting on either the monkey cage or the big dead tree. They were all perched happily on the roof of Mr. Twit's house. The roly-poly bird was up there as well, and the monkeys were in the cage, and the whole lot of them were hooting with laughter at Mr. Twit. So you can see them all sitting up there. "I'll wipe that silly laugh off your beaks," Mr. Twit screamed at all the birds. "I'll get you next time, you filthy, feathery frumps. I'll wring your necks, the whole lot of you, and have you bubbling in the pot for bird pie before this day is out." "How are you going to do that?" asked Mrs. Twit, who had come outside to see what all the noise was about. "I won't have you smearing sticky glue all over the roof of our house." Mr. Twit went very close to Mrs. Twit and lowered his voice so that neither the birds nor the monkeys should hear. "I've got a great idea," he said. "We'll both go into town right away and we'll buy a gun each. How's that?" "Brilliant!" cried Mrs. Twit, grinning and showing her long yellow teeth. "We'll buy those big shotguns that spray out 50 bullets or more with each bang." "Exactly," said Mr. Twit. "Lock up the house while I go and make sure the monkeys are safe and shut away." Mr. Twit went over to the monkey cage. "Attention!" he barked in his fearsome monkey trainer's voice. "Upside down, all of you! Jump to it! One on top of the other! Quick! Get on with it, or you'll feel Mrs. Twit's stick across your backsides." Obediently, the poor monkeys stood on their hands and clambered one on top of the other, with Muggle Wump at the bottom and the smallest child at the very top. "Now stay there till we come back," Mr. Twit ordered. "Don't you dare move, and don't overbalance. When we return in 2 or 3 hours' time, I'll expect to find you in exactly the same position as you are now. Do you understand?" With that, Mr. Twit marched away. Mrs. Twit went with him, and the monkeys were left alone with the birds. Muggle Wump has an idea. As soon as Mr. and Mrs. Twit had disappeared down the road, the monkeys all flipped back onto their feet the right way up. "Quick! Get the key!" Muggle Wump called out to the roly-poly bird, who was still sitting on the roof of the house. "What key?" shouted the roly-poly bird. "The key to the door of our cage!" cried Muggle Wump. "It's hanging on a nail in the work shed. That's where he always puts it." The roly-poly bird flew down and came back with the key in his beak. Muggle Wump reached a hand through the bars of the cage and took the key. He put it in the lock and turned it. The door opened. All 4 monkeys leapt out together. "We are free!" cried the 2 little ones. "We are! Where shall we go, Dad? Where shall we hide?" "Don't get excited," cried Muggle Wump. "Calm down, everybody. Before we escape from this beastly place, we have one very, very important thing to do." What do you think that might be? Any ideas? "What?" they asked him. "We're going to turn those terrible Twits upside down." "We're going to do what?" they cried. "You must be joking, Dad." "I'm not joking," Muggle Wump said. "We're going to turn them both, Mr. and Mrs. Twit, upside down with their legs in the air." "Don't be ridiculous," the roly-poly bird said. "How can we possibly turn those 2 maggoty old monsters upside down?" We can, cried Muggle Wump. "We are going to make them stand on their heads for hours and hours, perhaps forever. Let them see what it's like for a change." "How?" said the roly-poly bird. "Just tell me how." Muggle Wump laid his head on one side, and a tiny twinkling little smile touched the corners of his mouth. "Now and again," he said, "but not very often, I have a brilliant idea. This is one of them. Follow me, my friends, follow me." He scampered off toward the house, and the 3 other monkeys and the roly-poly bird went after him. Buckets and paintbrushes, cried Muggle Wump. That's what we want next. There are plenty in the workshed. Hurry up, everyone. Get a bucket and a paintbrush. Inside Mr. Twit's workshed, there was an enormous barrel of hug-tight sticky glue, the stuff he used for catching the birds. Fill your buckets, Muggle Wump ordered. We are now going into the big house. Mrs. Twit had hidden the key to the front door under the mat, and Muggle Wump had seen her doing it, so it was easy for them to get in. In they went, all 4 monkeys with their buckets of sticky glue. Then came the roly-poly bird flying in after them with a bucket in his beak and a brush in his claw. Do you hear my cat in the background? Oh, wait, let me show you those pictures. Sorry. There they are, gathering their supplies. The great glue painting begins. This is the living room, announced Muggle Wump. The grand and glorious living room where those 2 fearful, frumptious freaks eat bird pie every week for supper. Please don't mention bird pie again, said the roly-poly bird. It gives me the shudders. We mustn't waste time, cried Muggle Wump. Hurry up! Now, the first thing is this. I want everyone to paint sticky glue all over the ceiling. Cover it all. Smear it in every corner. Over the ceiling, they cried. Why the ceiling? Never mind why, shouted Muggle Wump. Just do as you're told and don't argue. But how do we get up there? They cried. We can't reach. Monkeys can reach anywhere, shouted Muggle Wump. He was in a frenzy of excitement now, waving his paintbrush and his bucket and leaping about all over the room. Come on! Jump on the table, stand on the chairs, hop on each other's shoulders. Roly-poly, you can do it flying. Don't stand there gaping. We have to hurry. Don't you understand that? Those terrible Twits will be back any moment, and this time they'll have guns. Get on with it, for heaven's sake. Get on with it. He's feeling desperate. And so the great glue painting of the ceiling began. All the other birds who had been sitting on the roof flew in to help, carrying paintbrushes in their claws and beaks. There were buzzards, wild ducks, woodpeckers, magpies, rooks, ravens, and many more. What must those be? All types of birds, right? Everyone was splashing away like mad, and with so many helpers, the job was soon finished. You see what everybody's doing? I think I have to stop there, and we'll finish it tomorrow. It's nice to see you all. Have a good day. Stay safe. Be well. Wash your hands.